everyone, welcome back to my channel. You've seen the title, so you know what we're doing here, and that is the originally fan-made song Addict, which I believe was songwritten by Silverhound but performed by Michael Kovac, the original pilot voice for Angel Dust and also the voice of Jax in The Amazing Digital Circus. So I thought this would be fun, and a couple of people did recommend it / request it. So let's watch Addict. Yeah, that content warning is pretty much what I was expecting for this. Let's go. Val with a couple of girls. Angel performing.
Till death do us part, but we're already past that phase. This is a brand new start, and I think I deserve some praise for the way that I am. Despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, I don't give a damn. I've let my emotions go, fuck me.
Okay, lore drop. I mean, so far, already a banger. I'm really enjoying the vibe of this song. This is the menacing Val that, I'll be honest, I love the show. And I think I have a lot of praise for season 2, and I also have some healthy critique. And I think one thing that doesn't fully sit right with me is making Val into kind of a comic relief character almost. I don't know, they really tone him down and I think try and make him a little sympathetic, which again, I'm all for rehabilitation over incarceration, or rather over eternal damnation. And I think even, I want to say this right, don't take this the wrong way, I think even an abuser can be redeemed. But I think it needs to be done without downplaying previous behavior, it doesn't really glorify it, but just in general, without glorifying it, without downplaying previous behavior. And you can make some of maybe past actions or things understandable while not making them okay. But I do think season 2 leans a little bit too hard into trying to make Val a bit funny and like comedically dumb in a couple of scenes, like, you won't believe this, but I don't understand. And the I'm from Florida line, they're almost trying to soften him a little bit, and this is the Val that I always remember. And I just think there's some room for improvement in the way that they're trying to shift his character, especially with what's just happened with Angel Dust and everything. I get that the voice actor, Joel, is very charismatic and I love him. So I get why they would want to maybe make Val like more of a character, but I don't necessarily think it's been handled in the best way, if that makes sense. And that's just my personal opinion. But that's why seeing earlier stuff like this, I appreciate the menace that we're seeing. Okay, editing me here. I just wanted to quickly expand kind of upon that, in that it's not just that they kind of made Val more of a comic relief character, but that they also dialed up Vox to being more of the aggressor. I mean, if for whatever reason you haven't seen the show or season 2 yet, I won't go into specifics, but after the incident / reveal, it is my opinion that Val is a little bit more reduced into kind of one of Vox's goons. Not entirely, but rather than him being a very menacing presence in his own right, he kind of comes across as a little hopeless, dumb, doing what he does to please Vox. And it felt like a huge departure. I mean, maybe that's more of where the character direction is going, but I think it was without development, in my opinion. Because as I said, I mean, I'm even in favor of maybe quite evil characters or characters who have done some really bad things. I would like to see them redeemed. I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Good Place, as I know some of you are, because I mentioned a Molotov cocktail being very Jason Mendoza. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see so many of you sound off in the comments with some Jacksonville Jaguars or Good Place references in general. But if you've seen that show, That's a big thesis statement of bad people learning, and it's not so much who you are today, but who you could have been tomorrow. But it does take effort on your part and a desire to get better. And so that's why it kind of irks me when we see that kind of happen without any real catalyst for that or a deeper character motivation behind it. And not to be hypocritical, because I think the V's are iconic, but I also think they're terrible people. And while I don't include Hear My Hope within this, because Velvet's choice, let's just say, was entirely self-serving, I don't think that is contradictory at all. I'm totally fine with that. But I feel like a lot of the impact of the ending and a certain character, okay, I can't really talk about this without spoiling, so skip ahead if you don't want to know, but how much more impactful would Angel feeling so defeated and going back to Val, specifically, I believe he mentions going back to Val in particular, and I feel like that would have hit so much harder if he still felt as threatening. Like, yes, he is still doing what he's doing, but it just feels like they declawed him a little in season 2, making him to, if he wasn't such a monster, be this kind of himbo, like, comic relief, as I said. I just think that choice would have been even more emblematic of how defeated and broken down he's feeling, that, he was never free and he feels trapped, which that choice, like that plot point of the hypnosis, let's say, I do have criticisms of that. Not unfounded, and it's not like I hate the way that it was done, but I don't think it needed to happen. I think that choice was kind of made to make Vox as endgame villainous big bad as possible for this season. But in doing that, I kind of feel like it is further diminishing the dynamic between Angel and Val, because it's sort of like, oh, this wasn't enough for it to be a bad situation. This is what was happening the whole time. Now it's really, really bad. Look what was happening the whole time. But I feel like you could have got that result without the trickery. Like, it didn't need a reveal. And actually, I'll probably get into it more in my HAZBIN rewatch, and maybe if I ever do like an analysis video on it, because I do have a lot to say. But there is one thing that I've just been thinking about really since I watched season 2, and as much as the songs were the best, oh my god, like, I really did enjoy season 2, I just think one area in which it could have been so much stronger was very much to do with this. Speaking of The Good Place, I actually have there's a really important scene in that resonates with me so strongly and kind of informs why I think the Angel hypnosis plot twist was a mistake. Why it wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't needed. I think the show already had the perfect recipe to make that happen without kind of a cheap, just to make Vox seem much more threatening and like the big bad that he is, whilst also diminishing Val's harm, in my opinion. I promise, I have very good justification. I mean, I don't need it really, it's my opinion. But yeah, God, I have so many thoughts on that, but I will save it for another day. Oh my god, yeah, but before I forget, despite having overdosed and ending up comatose, is that how he died? Because I'm assuming, obviously, ending up comatose, assuming that was in his human life. And I wonder if that was it, or whether he died in a different way, but that's very interesting. Yeah, for the way that I am, despite having overdosed and ending up comatose. Angie, oh.
My emotions go, fuck me in a sober hole. This is the mantra, this is my life.
Pained expression. That guy, yeah.
Surrounded by fire, the passion ignites. A hidden heaven and hell. I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis.
Oh, Angel. Oh, and yes, Cherry chimed in. Great vocal chemistry going on here, but oh, that makes me so sad. And yeah, I can definitely see a lot of poison from this. Similar performance, seemingly upbeat, but pained look in the eyes, pained expression. And I do appreciate seeing this because in the actual show, we hear that Angel and Cherry are friends, but we don't get to see a ton of them actually having been friends, if that makes sense. So even though this was, originally a fan project, it's nice seeing this relationship incorporated into it. And Poor Angel. Again, great intercutting these scenes with the reality of the situation. Curled up in the fetal position, just crying. Oh, Angel. Oh, my baby. But good on Cherry. I like this dynamic for them.
This hotel is my
This hotel is my Atlantis.
We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in. I'm addicted to the feeling.
What the fuck? What the fuck is that? Oh my god, who is she? Nightwing? What is going on? Just unnecessarily large cake. Parallels. Headbanging. Oh, yeah, I knew it. Oh, okay, that's one thing I was interested in, because obviously I believe this was originally a fan project, and at the start we see Val cozying up with those women there in like potentially like a sexual way, and it does seem, based on what you guys have said and also what I was thinking based on his design and behavior and having the fizzy bots, is I'm assuming he's trying to emulate Ozzy from Helluva Boss, the deadly sin of lust. So it would be in character for him to either be like pan or bi. So that was my assumption for him. And I also really, really appreciate the fact that Vox is canonically bisexual. Yet we only ever see him on screen like sexually involved with another man. And oh, tangent time, guys. This pissed me off. I feel like fans who think this way maybe are too young to really be watching the show, but it really upset me seeing, it was like underneath a post of bisexual energy, or this is our bisexual king or something, and it was Vox. And so many of the comments underneath are like, actually, Vox is gay. And it was just so many comments underneath that, which is bi erasure. And it really, it's upsetting to me when bisexual women are often just considered straight and bisexual men are often just considered gay. It just, critical thinking, people, please. So yeah, tangent over. My assumption was that Val was also probably in that realm, bi or pan, replicating a demon of lust in general anyway, even though, I mean, we kind of see it in this fan production, even though we don't really see him necessarily involved with any women, like that is still my assumption based on his characterization. So let me just check. Okay, yes, confirmed he is pan. And of course I knew Vox is bi. So there's still a chance for me. Sorry. Let's move on. Okay, I'm jumping in a lot, but there was just so much going on in the music video and my thoughts were churning, but given my penchant for tangents, I feel like I would be mid-thought and then divert. So I did want to expand a little more on the Vox being bi thing, because I mentioned I like the fact that he's canonically bi, but we only ever see him with men in that kind of more explicit way, like at the forefront of the show. And I like that because there always is this pressure, and I think it is because of the fan reception of bi women are just straight and bi men are just gay. Like that invalidating reception a lot of the time, I think makes creatives feel the need to prove the character's sexuality explicitly, like on screen. So you'll often see books do this, or it spawns my least favorite trope, which is like the sexually voracious bi character where they're just fucking anything and everything, because how else are we gonna know they're bi? Or even worse than that, when they're unfaithful because they're bi. Of like, oh, I'm attracted to both, how can I possibly be faithful? Like, oh God, I could get into that. But yeah, that's why I enjoy the fact that it's standing on business that yes, he is bi, but you don't need to portray him as being in a relationship with a woman for that to still be true. Same, we don't see Charlie's ex-boyfriend on screen in the show, but just because she is in a loving and committed relationship with Vaggie doesn't mean she's a lesbian. We have Velvet for that. Thank you, Velvet, for your service to women everywhere. But yeah, wanted to clarify, I'm not saying it's a problem at all. In fact, I like that portrayal. I'm just concerned about the fan reception of that, because from a lot of those fans, just really not cool at all, guys. Come on. But yeah, at this point, those of you who have understood what I meant understand, and if you don't, then you probably won't, even if I keep clarifying. So yeah, let me jump back into the reaction. Oh. Okay, pausing here. Oh, poor Angel. It's so hard to watch. Jesus. But what's going on here? Someone from Cherry's past? I mean, I guess past in hell though, because they're clearly a demon as well, a sinner. But, huh. Okay, I'm back again. I wanted to talk about this guy because I ended up looking it up because he looked vaguely familiar and I didn't know why. I wasn't sure if it was just because he vaguely looks like a combination between Angel and Cherry, like the Cyclops vibe, but I think the hat, hair, like just the shape of him is very Angel reminiscent, like kind of shared features. So I wasn't sure. My assumption was kind of he was probably either a family member because he did have the Cyclops eye, so I was wondering if they were related, maybe an abusive family dynamic, maybe a dad. But the context and themes of the song made me think it could also be a, abusive dynamic. I mean, not necessarily romantic, but potentially romantic, or maybe an ex, something like that. So I wasn't sure. And it kind of seems like a majority of people also aren't sure, because I was looking at threads from 6 years ago all the way to now. And even in like dedicated fan spaces, a lot of people were just saying, oh, it's not really confirmed, we're not really sure. Some people had some theories, of course. Then I saw one comment mention zoophobia, and I was like, that is ringing a bell. Because I briefly, in not a trivia capacity, but in a kind of going down a rabbit hole of investigating lore and the original characters, original character design, like that kind of stuff. And I'd remembered zoophobia, so I was like, oh, maybe that's where I remember him from. And I'm not sure if I actually did ever see his photo or whether his character similarities kind of made me think he seemed familiar, but I did know that Cherry was originally from that show. I think she was called, it was like Deezer, because I think it was the Deezer appointment or some pun like that. And I knew that was Cherry's original character, and that Mimsy was also from that show, or was planned to be before getting scrapped for that show. So I was like, okay, that would make sense, I guess. This guy was also scrapped and never brought across. So maybe it was supposed to be canon at the time, maybe it was soft canon, but then it's since diverged. And so that's seemingly where he's from, because I did find it and I was like, yes, that is him. A lot of people in the forums were saying with their whole chest that, oh, his name's Hunter and he's Cherry's ex-boyfriend. But then I was hearing his name's actually Izzy, he's from Zoophobia, and I was like, okay, let me look into this. So yes, apparently his name's Izzy and he's a demon hunter, so that must be why people thought his name was Hunter. And if I'm being totally honest, I really prefer the design that I saw in the mock-up, like the concept art or the splash art of the character from like the Zoophobia wiki, because he looks very intimidating. Whereas in Addict, when he's reflected in the puddle specifically, he kind of just looks like kind of a sad old man. I don't know why I feel that way. I mean, I guess other people felt the same because they're like, oh, I think he's her old mentor or something. But I mean, the most definitive thing I can find is that him and Cherry were supposed to be like either a couple or a duo. They were meant to both be villains together or something. But yeah, it did seem like a lot of people were saying what's canon very confidently in like 4 or 5 different alternatives. Like, it's actually this or it's actually this. And I'm like, I don't know if you know that for sure, because there's a lot of conflicting info to the contrary, actually. So it's just an example of don't believe everything you read, because some people just be saying shit. But what I actually found interesting was when I initially had stumbled upon the Cherry design as Deezer, her original design, I was interested to see that she didn't really have an explosive character theme. Like, almost none of the art features her with explosive material, but his does. In his character art, he's like holding a bomb or he has explosives, and the wiki lists one of his powers as like explosion, or his weapon of choice exploding. So that actually might be one little thread of why people thought he was a mentor, because now obviously she's taken on that explosive role. So maybe the torch was passed on, or people thought maybe she was trained that way. But it could also just be because he was planned for that and scrapped, and maybe his character was kind of conflated into hers, because they were both supposed to be villains together, based on the information out there anyway. So yeah, I found that particularly interesting, and I mean, I love the change because I can't imagine Cherry without her explosive personality. So yeah, I thought I'd share because literally the majority of the comments had no idea what zoophobia was, and it took me a while to find people with actual information and not kind of just saying shit. So yes, if you didn't know, now you do.
But you fell deeper in this pit, while death rains from above. So count your blessings, cause this is it. You're not letting it go. So what if I misbehave? It's what everybody craves. You already know. So come if you're feeling brave.
She does love her explosives. Oh, this song is such a bop.
We could have it all by the end of the night. Your money and power, my simple delight.
Who is that?
I'm addicted to the madness. This hotel is my Atlantis. We're forever gonna have a fucking reason to sin. Let me leave my soul to burn and I'll be breathing it in. I'm addicted to the feeling, getting higher than the ceiling. And we're never gonna want this fucking feeling to end. Just concede and give in to
Why are there earth fish there? Slay. Love the outfits. Okay, me again, but one thing I noticed since I've actually seen the music video a couple more times since filming the reaction, because obviously I'm loving the song so much. And actually, I remember mentioning to in some comment, I think, they'd asked me to watch Addict, and I was like, oh yeah, don't worry, I've seen it, love it. Was thinking of a completely different song. I think it was a Paranoid DJ one. Use Me Up or something, which when someone mentioned Addict, I was like, oh, that's the one that they're talking about, obviously. It wasn't until someone mentioned, I think that it was by Silverhound, that I'm like, oh, I thought this one was Paranoid DJ. And I was like, oh, I'm actually silly. There's such a plethora of amazing fan-made songs. My friend did the same thing initially when I was recommending some Alistair fan-made songs. And he was like, oh no, I know Insane. And I'm like, oh no, I'm talking about Daisies and Upside Down. And he was like, oh, I was thinking of Alistair's Game. And I was like, okay, there's a lot to unpack there. But yeah, my god, tangent, because what I actually came to mention after having noticed it after a few more watches is just how heavily the focus is on the dancing aspect, the pole, the performing, and it even shows his drag wig at the end of the episode, which I believe I commented on. Or for you guys, you will see me comment on it soon. But yeah, I found that really interesting because even compared to the pilot, where it sort of alluded to that him, taking on a client is not really regular for him, or maybe it's a new development. And here we see it so heavily focused on performing. It's such an interesting contrast between that and the direction they ended up taking the character. I think maybe at some point in development, they decided that he was probably going to be more of a porn star than just a performer. Not that obviously the two can't have underlying themes or anything. And obviously that SA dynamic was already there with Val, but that distinction between, him performing and on the pole and dancing with Cherry and just that kind of very insular portrayal compared to Angel Dust, famous porn star. It's just, an interesting comparison, I think. Okay, past me, we'll finish the reaction now. I'm disturbed by the inclusion of Earthfish. How did they get here? Wow. Oh, and it seems there's a little end scene, so I'm gonna watch this.
I'm addicted to the sorrow when the buzz ends by tomorrow. There's another rush of poison flowing into my veins, giving me a dose of pleasure that resides by the pain. I'm addicted.
Fat nuggets.
I'm dependent.
The wig, yep.
Looking awesome, feeling helpless, and I know I'm raising Cain by every highway in hell. Maybe things won't be so terrible inside this hotel.
That's tough. Oh, very, very reminiscent of what we eventually got as Poison.
Maybe things won't be so terrible inside this hotel.
Maybe things won't be so terrible inside this hotel. Yeah. It's very much the thesis for Angel, trying to find some kind of safe haven. Oh, that song fucked me up. I mean, it's a straight bop, like that's going on the playlist expeditiously, but still, that was a tough watch. But yeah, the song was a straight banger. Love, love, love. Can't wait to listen to that for the rest of the day. So that was a big positive out of doing this. Okay, last time, I promise. I just thought, since this is probably going to turn out to be a decently shorter video than is typical for me, I figured this is as good a time as any to jump in for a little post-reaction chat. I don't know when I'll get another chance because I've already filmed the Helluva Boss shorts and the videos are gonna be a couple of hours long, I think. Especially for like 45 minutes of content, like that was crazy. But that's already a lot of talking and also a lot of editing, so there's not typically room for something like this in those videos anyway. But yeah, I thought I would just do very, very few little FAQs, especially when people mention the same shows to react to, that if you haven't seen me replying to a comment for it, obviously you're not gonna know. So I figured I would mention for those really popular recommendations if I've already seen it and I don't find value in doing a rewatch, where some I might. But yeah, I figured I would mention those. So yeah, let's get into it. First one is kind of niche. 98% of you probably won't care, but one comment that I get a lot is, what eyeshadow do I use? Specifically, I mean, you probably can't see it in this lighting very well, but anyone who's mentioned it is like, specifically the glittery shade, like what is that glittery eyeshadow? And I have an answer for you. This is by no means sponsored, oh my god, I wish. But I think maybe even over a year ago at this point. And it was from, oh my god, such a good quality Chinese makeup brand called Flower Nose. Oh, the quality, the packaging is beautiful, just incredible. And so even though it was like over a year ago that I bought this palette, it's barely dented, especially the glitter shade I'll show you. So it's like the Swan Ballet palette. Oh my god, I feel like a beauty YouTuber. I am not. And it's in the shade White Swan. Okay, here it is. And this is terrible lighting for what I'm trying to do. But yeah, this shade is the glitter one. And you can see I've like barely made a dent in it. And I use it almost every day, if not every day. I have like 2 other palettes. The lipstick I always wear is from Flower Nose as well. Just the highest quality makeup I've probably ever used. So yeah, I would repurchase this again just for that glitter shade, because it's just like one tiny little tap and that's all I need. But yeah, so many of you asked about that, so I'm here to deliver. And yeah, can't recommend this enough. Okay, coming to heavily requested shows, and I'll start with one that I actually probably will do a rewatch. If I don't hear from you guys saying, please no, don't do that, we don't want to see it, then I probably will. Just because I'm just, especially after so many people mentioning it, I am itching to rewatch it. I haven't rewatched it in so long, and it's probably my favorite show of all time. Maybe The Good Place is higher, but maybe they're equal, just in very different ways. And since I haven't seen it in a while, and I've seen it more than once, obviously, but I haven't actively sat down and watched it as if I'm discussing it with an audience. So I think that could even be an entirely new experience. Oh my god, how long are those videos going to be? Because I have so much to say on that show. But yeah, I'll stop teasing you. The show in question is Arcane. And if you know, you know, because I think it's one of the greatest shows that's ever been made, ever. The writing, the characters, the art and animation, if you haven't seen it, there is a hole in your life. Like, you haven't lived until you've seen Arcane. You haven't seen it, you're dead. Right now. Like, we gotta fix that. But yeah, if you guys don't want to see it, that is so fine. I'll watch it in my free time, but I also might slow down a little bit or release shorter videos in the meantime if that's the case. Because if I fall into my Arcane hyperfixation again, I'll probably just want to watch that for the time being. So if I'm not making content on it, then yeah, I'll still release, but I just might not do as many big videos. But yeah, if you do want to see Arcane, then a rewatch this way comes. Okay, second up is one that I won't be doing. I think I personally don't see much value in it from my standpoint, and that is Alien Stage. A lot of people have been really asking for it, and I find this helpful. I'm not saying it's annoying or anything. Like, really explaining to me like, oh, this is Alien Stage, it's this niche show, like, here's what it is. And I'm like, babes, I know, I'm with you. I actually used to be obsessed with it. I was so invested. I mean, I'm a Korean translator, so if there's some kind of like popular Korean media, I'll at least know about it, if not having already seen it. But yeah, it was such a ride. I was very, very invested in it. It did kind of drag out a little bit, so I did admittedly lose interest. And although I was very, very deep in the lore then, I'm not as much now. But there's nothing I could say about the show or any observation I could make that anyone who wants to see me watch Alien Stage hasn't already heard and doesn't already know. Like, I don't have much personal input to give in those videos, if that makes sense. So while I did really enjoy that, I won't be doing a rewatch for it, but just to let you know that yes, I have already seen Alien Stage. Now, same with Epic the Musical. A lot of people recommended this, to which I started raving about it because I actually discovered it like towards the end of last year. I knew about it and of course had seen bits and bobs, and I even like knew some of the songs because they became popular sound bites online, like from Just a Man and God, I can't even remember the name of the song. One of the Calypso ones, the She's My Wife soundbite. You'll have seen that even if you haven't listened to Epic the Musical. But the thing is, even though I sat there and I listened to it practically in one sitting, I haven't watched any animatics in order anyway. There was like one fan animatic that I saw and I watched it like 20 times in a row. This is actually what made me listen to the musical in the first place, because I was so captivated. It was an animatic to Just a Man. And I was like, oh my God. And I was on the way to work. So I went home from work and I just listened to the whole thing. And so many of those songs were on repeat for me. But because I haven't watched the musical as like an animatic journey, a lot of people really recommended doing that. So that is something I'd be willing to do if people want that, knowing it wouldn't be exactly a first time reaction to the songs anyway. So y'all let me know what you think. And I mean, I guess there's a lot of shows that I've seen and maybe people would still want me to watch, but one that not as many, but a few very passionate people have been commenting about is Adventure Time. And I'm both sorry to say and glad to tell you that, oh, trust me, I've seen that show more times than you could count. Like, you don't even know the amount of merch I have of that show. I have a Jake the Dog hat in my cupboard signed by John DiMaggio right now, next to a photo of me with Jeremy Shader, the voice for Finn. Like, I was obsessed with Adventure Time. The cake I made and decorated in home ec class in high school was a BMO cake. Like, I had Marceline's guitar, I had a BMO hoodie and like a Finn onesie. Like, I can't even go into detail with the way that my life, Adventure Time was like my special interest for so long. And I still stand by that. Like, it still holds up. I actually haven't seen it in such a long time, so I wouldn't be opposed to a rewatch, but it's just so long. Like, it's so long, and although some episodes are really, really, really impactful, lore heavy, oh my God, like the Ice King, Simon and Marcy, I'm not gonna get into it. But there are also so many episodes that, while fun, like I don't know if I could give that much value other than just enjoying them, especially because I've seen them so many times. And I don't even know how big the demand would be for that anyway. So I'm leaning towards probably not, but I'd be happy to discuss the show if anyone, if you leave a comment asking my thoughts, I'll be happy to answer. But I can't see myself doing a rewatch reaction in the near future anyway. But again, you guys can always let me know if there's a particular thing you want to see, and I'll definitely take it under advisement and add it to my ever-growing list. Okay, and I will just end off by talking about what's coming up. I mean, as I mentioned, the Helluva Boss shorts are coming. As soon as the 8th short came out, I was like, yep, this is my time. I'm going to watch them all. And I have. So yeah, it's taking me so long to edit it because it's so long. The hours of footage I have, oh my God. But yeah, if not next week, then you'll see it in the very near future. I'm also very close to finishing The Amazing Digital Circus. My plan to stretch it out has very much worked because I'll be ending the current episodes that are out right now relatively soon before the new episode comes out on March 20th, which was my plan. I didn't want to binge it knowing that there was an episode coming out like a couple months away. So same as the shorts, I'm hoping that it will line up nicely. And then yeah, I'll be done with The Amazing Digital Circus until new episodes come out. So I know a lot of you want to see Murder Drones, but I'll see how I feel. I might let it rest for a minute and then pick up some more Glitch Studios stuff rather than diving straight into it. But it is highly recommended, so I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Obviously, potentially Arcane, because I kind of really do want to do a rewatch for it. And I will probably only be curbed if you specifically tell me you don't want to see it, which is valid. If you don't want to see it, that is fine. You will save me time. Y'all let me know. And then the one that I'm thinking of that I just really want to watch right now as a new show anyway is The Mighty Nine, which I have expressed before, but then a few people told me, oh, you have to watch Vox Machina first, otherwise it won't make sense. And I'm like, well shit, I don't really want to get through a couple of seasons worth of show before I get into The Mighty Nine. So I'll kind of put a pause on that idea for now. But then some people told me, and a couple in particular were very detailed. I was like so thankful, because now I probably will watch The Mighty Nine right now, is that they're not even, it's not like it's a sequel or anything. It is a different adventure within the same world. And so while there'll be Easter eggs and maybe references, you don't need to have seen one to fully understand the other, in the same way that you don't have to have watched the original D&D campaign to understand the show. It's kind of like, in that case, it's kind of like a book and movie adaptation scenario. But yeah, I mean, I actually don't play D&D. I mean, I would very much like to, but I would probably want to do it in person, and I just don't, have enough people in my life right now who are also that way inclined. But I'm a very big Baldur's Gate 3 fan, and I like tabletop RPG in general and like RPG board games. And I was like, oh, I was such a big Talisman fan, for my Talisman heads out there. So especially recently, I mean, oh God, I got so into watching some Critical Role. I mean, kind of through, because I was a Dropout and like Game Changer fan, but then Dimension 20 and Critical Role, like I've become more interested, especially after seeing the Baldur's Gate 3 cast go on tour and play D&D in their characters. Like that was everything to me. So since I'm kind of in it right now, I do really want to watch The Mighty Nine. And if I really enjoy it, which I probably will, then I'll probably feel invested enough to check out Vox Machina. And I mean, I already kind of know tiny bits of info about it. Like who Grog Strongjaw is, like just from little tiny references dropped in other campaigns and little shorts of it. So yeah, I know I'll be interested, but I think I need to ease into it, and I would like to start with The Mighty Nine, so I'll probably be doing that soon. But yeah, I was gonna let past me give you the outro, but I mean, I'm here, so I will finish it there. What a fun one this was. I mean, fun in the sense that it was interesting, not that the content was enjoyable, because obviously Angie, oh, my baby, going through it as usual. But what a good song, absolute bop. And I've definitely had it on repeat since then. And yeah, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts, obviously on Addict, the topic of this video, but also on, yeah, any of the stuff I've just gone over. And if you have any input on some of the content I'm looking forward to or have suggested I would like to do, let me know if you want to see it or not. And who knows, I might do it anyway, because it's my channel. But I would much rather, balance that with what I really want to enjoy and also catering to what you guys want to see. So always open. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I will see you in the next video.